Hermann Goering. Why, of course, the people don't want war. Why would some poor slob on a farm want to risk his life in a war when the best that he can get out of it is to come back to his farm in one piece? Naturally, the common people don't want war, neither in Russia, nor in England, nor in America, nor for that matter in Germany. That is understood. But after all, it is the leaders of the country who determine the policy, and it is always a simple matter to drag the people along. Whether it is a democracy or a fascist dictatorship, or a parliament, or a communist dictatorship. Gustav Gilbert. There is one difference. In a democracy, the people have some say in the matter through their elected representatives, and in the United States, only Congress can declare wars. Hermann Goering. Oh, that is all well and good, but voice or no voice, the people can always be brought to the bidding of the leaders. That is easy. All you have to do is tell them they are being attacked and denounce the pacifists for lack of patriotism and exposing the country to danger. It works the same way in any country. Good evening, folks. I finally fixed my audio. Hopefully it stays, and let's get going. Nothing chaps my hide more than hypocrites and liars, but we'll see how things turn up. It's a little disappointing because while I was preparing for this, someone at conservativnews.com in the forums decided to delete my comment. So I was responding to Ronnie Mitchell, who wrote on August 9, 2019 at 16:12, I enjoyed the part about the Times and the Guardian ambush of Assange. New news to me for sure. I have one thing I can think that can detract from CN's credibility in the comment section of the YouTube when a tech person there, Ebon Kim, refers to mass shootings as, quote, false flags, unquote, but no less important is that also is a flat earther. No joke, look at the comment area. But as the tech person for CN, it can look like those views reflect those of CN, which is ridiculous, of course, but not everyone will know that. And consortiumnews.com replied about 27 minutes later, those views absolutely do not reflect those of Consortium News. Thank you for pointing that out. Well, I had replied saying, and here's a screenshot where I actually replied on my laptop, but I was getting ready for it and refreshed the page because I do like to refresh pages when I'm giving presentations out. And again, this is a refresh and it's no longer there. And you can see my timestamp is at 7:49 August 10th, 2019, where my response was, oh, you again. And I'm putting out, oh, you guys can see it. Let me choose the main monitor. All right, this is a screenshot from my laptop, August 10th, 2019 at 7:48. Oh, you again. And this is me. I'm quoting myself from my chat. And the chat you can see right here. This is at the 1 hour 44 minute mark, a little bit past. I'm replying to Blaze and Koala. I'm not even talking to whoever was really getting angry. Brooke Hines. I guess Brooke Hines is Ronnie Mitchell. I have no idea. I think the fact that these mass shootings cannot be investigated to ensure it's not a false flag or psyop is an indicator that it may be a false flag or psyop. You can go and watch the whole thing and I will play it out. No, at no time did I say these mass shootings are false flags. One, I wouldn't say it's a false flag because a false flag and a psyop are two different things. If I would call it anything, I would call it a psyop, but I have no clue if it is or not. I didn't investigate the current mass shootings. I didn't investigate the official narrative. I mean, I have no idea. But one thing I know I didn't say was that it was a false flag. And again, I would not call it a false flag. If anything, I would call it a psyop. Ronnie Mitchell obviously doesn't know the difference between a false flag and a psyop. But, well, so I emailed Joe, Elizabeth, and Kathy, of whoever is administering the forums here to stop censoring me. I don't like that. Especially when you leave up the comments of those who are lying, and I am responding to someone who is lying and calling that person out as a liar. And there are plenty of those that are in the comment section, which Joe Lauria says he's keeping up. He's not deleting these comments of those who are threatening violence. So you're not going to censor those who lie. You're not going to censor those who threaten violence, yet you're going to censor someone who works with you, who supports the Bill of Rights, freedom of speech, the Second Amendment. I mean, all of that. And I'm not attacking anyone. I'm not lying about anything. I'm not lying about a person saying, hey, I caught a lie. I caught a lie. I'm reporting it. I'm responding. And then I get censored. So we'll see how things turn out in the next couple of days. Because one thing I can't stand is I can't stand for anything are hypocrites and liars. I'll stand for truth, and those who don't better get out of my fucking way. All right. And here's another thing, false flags. There's plenty of false flags that are out there, but first let me Google something for people who don't know what a false flag is. And you can look it up, you can just Google it. It tells you exactly what it says. Multiple definitions. In false flag Wikipedia, false flag is a covert operation designed to deceive. The deception creates the appearance of a particular party, group, or nation being responsible for. Let's keep going. Let's see. For some activity disguising the actual source of responsibility. So there you go. That should be easy enough to know what a false flag is. Now let's look at PSYOP. PSYOP, persuade, change, influence, psychological operations, Wikipedia, psychological operations. PSYOP are operations to convey selected information and indicators to audiences to influence their emotions, motives, and objective reasoning, and ultimately the behavior of governments, organizations, groups, and individuals. There you go. And you don't think if PSYOPs actually have? Hey, we have in the military, you could go to goarmy.com and they have careers and jobs where you work in psychological operations, aka PSYOP. This is simple things. This is 101. All you have to do is just look into it. Now let's go ahead and keep watching this. Brooke Hines, Bon Kim, are you a crisis actor believer? Brooke Hines, I don't believe. I investigate the official narrative given. If there are holes, then I don't believe the official narrative, period. I'm probably going to fast forward, so bear with me. And look, Blazing Cola agrees. Zabon exactly. Take away. Well, he's talking about something else. But look, and I go, at Brooke Hines, what do crisis actors have to do with the official narrative? And what is Consortium News going to allow me to not comment in the comment section where anyone else pretty much gets to comment? It's a little hypocritical if that occurs. I doubt it's going to occur. I have more faith in the people that I am working with. But you never know. Things seem to change all the time, doesn't it? And here I go. First Amendment shall make no law. Second Amendment shall not be infringed. The founders are very specific about the first two amendments in the Bill of Rights. Brooke Hines, just why CN's own tech is in the live comments suggesting that mass shootings are psyops. I could say it's suggesting, yeah. Look, that's fine. But I didn't say it was a psyop. And at Brooke Hines, no one speaks for me, nor silence is what I want to say. As long as Consortium News is okay with that, I worked with them, yes. And that is true. And at this point, especially what happened with this comment section, I'm very close to not working with them, unfortunately. We'll see, because people have to have standards. And Blaz and Koala Brook, are you crying for censorship? Brook Hines, just really unprofessional that CN's own tech is in the live comments after 2 mass shootings suggesting they're psyops. I have no idea. A suggestion is a suggestion. Hey, let's look into the official narrative. Let's investigate it. Are we blocked? Are we obstructed from investigating? Why? If we are not, then that is fine. Are you suggesting that there has been no psyops ever in the United States that against the American people? Prove that. There are a lot of outliers as far as investigating the official narrative that's given by the government, by mainstream media. And why are you even listening to Consortium News and not going and listening to mainstream media if you don't believe mainstream media or the government? Most likely you're listening to Consortium News because they're giving you a different take on what the official narrative is. I just don't understand you. I think maybe I would say you're probably some agent. Look, let's look at who Brook Hines is. I have a hunch. Probably doesn't make a lot of YouTube videos or shows his face very much. 4 subscribers. A lot of videos. A lot of other people. Can we find out who this Ronnie Hines is? Or not Ronnie, Brook Hines is. This video is about cheese. Yeah, probably some agent trying to foment dissension. Anyways, let's keep going. And I say you can look at my live streams and videos. The Earth is most likely flat than a globe. I say what I want. I defend freedom because it's worth dying for. Brook Hines, oh my God, flat earther, great, so much for CN. And there you go. I never said they were psyops at Brook Hines. Speaking for me, I see. Jerry Alatalo, flat earth, oh my God. Brook Hines, LOL, flat earther wants to be understood. Again, typical response. And look, I can't prove anything. And I say that in here. We're pretty much obstructed from proving whether the Earth is a globe or not. No proof is given, and I cannot provide proof. I can only point out the lies. It looks like I found another one. Here, how about you look at one of my videos? I don't know. I can't prove to people that the Earth is flat or a globe. I do not have the means. I'm probably not allowed to. But you know what I can do? I can point out the lies. So PBS is Genius by Stephen Hawking.
Go ahead and land.
They're debunking flat Earth. Why would you fake it?
As it lands, it completely disappears from my line of sight.
Let me know when you can see us on spots of the horizon.
I got him. I got him. As it lands,
No, as you're watching the snapshot by snapshot, I have a thing that I say on Twitter, and it's my new profile, I guess, if you click on my profile. You know, I stand for truth and I won't stand for lies. Pointing out the lies is easy to do, but convincing others to look at the lie is the hardest part. Most people won't keep engaged and watch this. Even as I'm showing it now, they probably turned away. It's like, I don't need to watch this. I'm exposing the lie. It's like, why would you lie about this? I mean, you pretty much filmed something once, and you duplicated it. I mean, frame by frame, it's easy to see. It's the same snippet of film. Yet on one portion of your video, you've got the helicopter going down over the horizon, and you got another portion of the video where it's going up over the horizon. Yet you're using the same foreground with these three birds who luckily were there. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have caught it, and neither could have other people. And then, if you don't think psyops occur or false flags occur, and again, Ronnie Mitchell in the comment section, and I'm going to pause this video, is stating that, hey, look, refers to mass shootings as first false flags. No, I have not. And I would probably call them psyops again. Again, I keep repeating myself. Now, let's look at what Lee Stranahan, when talking with Elizabeth Leigh Voss, when the topic is the push for war in Syria. Listen what they talk about. Just listen.
The other thing is, when we look at this, when we look at our timeline here, we look at President Obama says there's a red line in the sand that if the Syrians use gas, then I'll have to act within days. Well, there's a gas attack. So Donald Trump a year ago says, I'm thinking about leaving Syria. Within days, there's another so-called gas attack. We look at what happens here with us. There are other things, but we look at this combination of Assange disappears, he becomes incommunicado, in at the same time President Trump says, A, we ought to get out of Syria, and B, I'm thinking about having a meeting with Vladimir Putin, and boom, all of a sudden there's another so-called gas attack. I think it's obvious now that we're seeing these things, including the Assange, including the statements, and these false, what I'm going to call them false flag gas attacks, are all connected.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, I think so. I think that it definitely appears that way. And the timing of those discussions or those statements made by Trump that he would like to pull out, or that he's wanting to de-escalate this whole situation, are very rapidly followed by these attacks that are then blamed on Assad, especially when there's no self-interested reason that he would do that. It's impossible to logically argue that was in his interest. So it definitely seems to be something that is being used by the U.S. as a pretense, obviously, to increase their aggression towards Syria, and that has a whole lot of escalating consequences when it comes to Russia and its allies, and then our allies. And I see that leading to a very, very dangerous situation in terms of, something that almost looks like the playing field before one of the more traditional world wars that we've seen. And it's been a lifetime since we've had to face a war of that nature. And I think that we are maybe complacent in seeing the danger of that.
And one of the things that you bring up, and there is an important, I was a former police officer, investigator, and, when you look at it, and one of the things you bring up that isn't discussed enough in the news, and that is when you say, Assad is accused of this last gas attack. After he wins, he's basically winning the war. He wins in this particular area. This area, he's clearing it. He makes an agreement with the fighters to leave. They start leaving. And then we're supposed to believe that the only thing he could do to screw it up would be a gas attack, and he did it. I was an investigator. If someone told me, well, this guy robbed a bank, well, what happened? Well, first he hit the lottery for $10 million, and then he robbed the bank. I'd say we might want to look in that. That doesn't make sense. He just cashed a lottery check for $10 million, and you're telling me he walked in and robbed the bank? It's possible, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. And that's the part of the discussion that isn't talked about enough, that they say, could he have done it? Does he have the capacity to do it? Oh, he's crazy and evil. But he would have to be really crazy, and he would have to simply say, you know what? I won, but I don't really want to win. I really want to lose. I want to do whatever I can do to ensure that other countries attack me, that the world rejects me, and that I've got to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. It becomes an absurdity to believe.
I completely agree with that. And speaking of investigators, a UN commission investigator is investigating war crimes in Syria, actually came out yesterday and accused the rebels in that area of carrying out this gas attack. and that they point out that the rebels have the same access to those types of weapons that Assad does. I mean, not the exact same, but they do have access to them. And I think that's a really concerning part of all this, definitely. And so I think it becomes very, very clear that it was not Assad that was doing these attacks, that this is not, as you just pointed out very well, this is not something that will benefit him. So
what's that implying? False flag?
The only people that this benefits are the people that want to have an all-out war and invade Syria. And we've seen how failed the regime changes are that are external, that are given to us by the U.S. and its allies. It just doesn't work very well. Ask Libya how that turned out.
Right. And it's obvious to me, it's becoming obvious that the people, and a lot of people are saying this now, that the regime change people, when you say there'll be nothing but mayhem and chaos and pandemonium afterwards, that's kind of what they want. They don't want a state that's controlled. They don't want a sovereign nation. They want a uncontrolled territory so they can just wander in anytime they want. If there's oil, if there's resources, they can take those and protect those oil and resources. And it's getting obvious that they're looking for a sovereign state, and they don't really care that it breeds ISIS, because let's face it, if you're rich and powerful, they probably ain't going to get into your gated community.
Right.
And so they'll leave the rest of us holding the bag. But your article in Disobedient Media, U.S. aggression towards Syria escalates as Assange remains unable to speak. People can go to disobedientmedia.com to find that. It's by Elizabeth Voss. So what are your thoughts on the any connection between the Skripal hoax, I'll call it that.
Anyway, it's plainly to see that they're talking about false flag event that occurred in Syria. Yet, what? You can't have the possibility of mass shootings as false flags. I wouldn't even call it false flag because it's not pointing to outside the government. Maybe an organization, but usually you would call that a psyop and not a false flag. Not only that, so another country could be reported to have gassed its own citizens, but it can be remained as not a false flag, or it could be thought of in conjecture and pretty much stated openly that is a false flag by those in the alternative media that you probably listen to, Ronnie Mitchell. Yet when there's mass shootings in any country, not just the United States, you're saying that it could be that. Just even thinking that it could be a false flag or psyop doesn't reflect very well on Consortium News, even though Consortium News is co-anchor Elizabeth Voss pretty much talks about false flags and psyops, and I'm pretty sure Joe Lauria talks about it too. Yet you can't talk about it in one type of I guess verb, mass shootings. If that is verb, whatever. Now, there's a lot of admissions that the government does, and heck, you can probably look, just do .gov admitted false flags. The only problem is right now .gov sites are down, at least Congress.gov and a couple other places. But there's 53 admitted false flags from governments, and this links to a lot of them. Pretty much everything here has admissions link, whether it's the mainstream media, which I doubt you're going to probably go, yeah, okay, I believe the mainstream media, which I don't. But what do? Do you believe what they're saying, or do you not believe what they're saying? And of course, if the CIA admits, a lot of these things, then, well, these guys got their sources wrong. And there's plenty more that you can even look here and find. And it's admits that lied about what really happened in the Gulf of Tonkin incident. Oh, really? Yeah, are you going to look at that? You're going to go, oh. Or is it just you can't have an Asian tech guy pointing these things out? Do you have to be like a certain race? Can I be an Asian woman? Can I be an Asian tranny? Would that be okay with you? Or maybe you can't just be a tech guy. You have to be journalist. You have to have gone to school. You have to have been educated. You have to have a whatever. You have to be an expert. Well, are they having an amateur run Consortium News? Are you saying Consortium News is run by amateurs? Unprofessional? So yeah, I don't care. And you know what? I didn't. Brooke Hines got near the end got timed out. I didn't time out. And guess who timed out? It was not me. It was Elizabeth Both, because I gave her a wrench. Anyways, let's. All right. Oh yeah. Okay. So we'll keep going. And I go, oh, categorization. I see. Good way to live life. Put people in boxes and disregard them. No thanks. Brooke Hines, no one is censoring CN's tech, just pointing out how unprofessional he is. I wonder, is Ronnie Hines Brooke Hines? Or Ronnie Mitchell Brooke Hines? I have no idea. Look, Brooke Hines' his first video is some weird snippet of like a dog and cheese. Let's keep going. Look, I'll tell you something too. If you don't really follow things that go on within WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, and a whole bunch of other activists in that arena, the ones who died, especially in mysterious circumstances, have been the tech people. It's not exactly the safest thing to be working in the tech sector for activists. All right. I'm replying back. Oh, I'm unprofessional, I see. Those who are activists ask for my help. I am trusted with sensitive information. I speak my mind to support freedom and the Bill of Rights. I guess I am unprofessional. I'm fine to be considered unprofessional. Stephanie Marcilia, good. Don't listen to BS about. Yeah, I just like to reply. You know, I'm listening. I'm live streaming. I'm replying to comments. Like, this is a very tough topic with gun laws and gun control. But if no one's going to speak out defending freedom, I'm sorry. I don't see many other people stepping up. I'm going to, even if I'm hated by people, just to even think of doing that. And look, they want to hate the people, the founding fathers. Those say, oh, it was different back then. Elizabeth Voss, I love her stance. We should all be able to respectfully disagree when discussing issues like this. Devolving into ad hominem attacks benefits no one and wins no arguments. Yeah, ad hominem attacks against me, which, you know, I didn't really care about that. I'm used to it. I'm a flat earther. Not necessarily that I know that Earth is flat. I just know it's not a globe. So what it is, I have no idea yet. I can point out the lies, like I said. I can. We're given no proof. I can give no proof. I can only point out the lies. Let's see. Is there more? I like to look at more. I think at this point, it was. Here's the thing. All right, let's look at that. It's 2:13, and just so you guys know, telling the truth about who actually timed out. And it's a timeout. It's not a ban. I haven't seen anyone ban anyone in Consortium News YouTube chat. And I doubt that they would want anyone to ban anyone. Timeout, of course, yeah. Let's see. OBS recordings, yeah. Live episode. Alright, let's see if we can see it from. Oh no, because it's not there. Damn it. Alright. Screw that part. Alright, let's just keep going for a little bit more. Joanne Leon. What they never hear during conversations about our gun problem is the fact that we live in a very militaristic society. All authorities know this and cheer this, never talk of any correlation. And I go, good point, Joanne Leon. And then that's where I'm like, oh, is that Floor from Unity 4J Floor? It is. Anyways, that's kind of the end of that fiasco. One of the things that are still not admitted is the Spanish-American War. I doubt that they want to admit that these days, but there's been a lot of controversy over the sinking of the Maine. Hyman G. Rickover, an admiral, during a 1911 congressional investigation of the sinking of the Maine, wrote a book and stating, especially with working with two experts, one of them was Philip Alger, who is where you could look. This is from thevintagenews.com. The cause of Maine sinking remains a subject of speculation. In 1898, and during that time, the assistant secretary of the Navy was Teddy Roosevelt. In 1898, an investigation of the explosion was carried out by a naval board appointed under the McKinley administration. The consensus of the board was that Maine was destroyed by an external explosion from a mine. However, the validity of this investigation has been challenged. George W. Melville, a chief engineer in the Navy, proposed that a more likely cause for the sinking was from a magazine explosion within the vessel. The Navy's leading ordnance expert, Philip R. Alger, took this theory further by suggesting that the magazines were ignited by a spontaneous fire in a coal bunker. The coal used in Maine was bituminous coal, which is known for releasing fire damp, a gas that is prone to spontaneous explosions. There is stronger evidence that the explosion of Maine was caused by an internal coal fire which ignited the magazines. This was likely cause of the explosion rather than the initial hypothesis of a mine. And you can go and look at, and there you go, Teddy Roosevelt, Assistant Secretary of the Navy at that time, during the investigations that didn't take place. Look, Paul Morton served under Teddy Roosevelt as Secretary of the Navy. When he left, Charles J. Bonaparte was in Congress, said, hey, no, wait, I've got everything backwards, I think. Shoot. Scratch all that I was saying. And you can just look at, oh, I got the wrong Alger. Damn it. Philip R. Alger. And yeah, shoot, that's a destruction of Maine. I wanted to look at this. Library of Congress is down. I would love getting stuff out of the Library of Congress. I like to get things as much as possible directly from the horse's mouth. See if they admit to anything. But I guess we could go into certain things like history.navy.mil, which talks about it. And when it's talking about the entire thing, let's go over a little bit at the end. Okay, so let's look at the details. On the evening of 15th of February 1898, a massive explosion ripped Maine apart. 250 enlisted men, 2 officers were killed, 8 more died in the next few hours, another 6 died in the months following as a result of their injuries. It was one of the worst peacetime naval catastrophes in the history of the United States Navy. In fact, more naval personnel died in this explosion than would be killed during the entire war that followed. The situation was volatile, but a key Navy leader, Como, I don't know what that means. Errant S. Crowninshield, chief of the Bureau of Navigation, later wrote that the cool, clear-headed telegram of Captain Sigsbee reporting the tragedy did much to strengthen the department in its purpose to take the fairest and most dispassionate view of every question and to diminish the dangerous confusion immediately after the explosion. As Crowninshield indicates, there was no immediate demand for war, while certain groups in the United States blamed the Spanish and agitated for armed retaliation. Most Americans, including Secretary of the Navy Long, were impressed by the compassion and concern showed by Spanish authorities in Cuba and Spain. They accepted the possibility that Maine's destruction was a tragic accident. The Navy's leading expert of explosives, Captain Philip R. Alger, and newspapers such as New York Times made the early case that Maine was destroyed by a spontaneous fire in a coal bunker that set off ammunition stored nearby, a theory strongly supported by the best modern study on the destruction of Maine, authored by Admiral Hyman G. Rickover. A court of inquiry was convened to establish the exact cause of the explosion. Its members were carefully chosen, and it seemed to have done its best to arrive at the unbiased verdict that Maine was destroyed by sabotage. Spanish authorities in Cuba, fearful that the court might decide that Maine had been destroyed by sabotage, conducted an investigation of their own. Although its deliberations were hampered by the refusal of the Americans to allow them to examine the ship or the point at which the explosion occurred, the findings of the United States Navy's court, which concluded that sabotage was the cause of the destruction, and of the Spanish investigation, which concluded that the Maine was not blown up from without, have not been printed here. And of course, initially it was by a mine, so how could it be sabotaged now? So a lot of weird things going on where you don't know who to believe. Someone's lying, but who has the most to gain? You know, we can just try to point out the lies. But if you don't want to point out the lies and you can't, you know, it's just he said, she said. What you can actually do is just look up admissions. And here's the thing. The difference between, again, false flag and PSYOP. False flags, most of the time, real people die. And PSYOPs, most of the time, most of it's faked. So if there are mass shootings where people die, I would rather have it be a PSYOP where some organization is lying to everyone than actually having it be a real situation where real people die. So if I had to choose, I would say I would rather have these mass shootings actually turn out to be a PSYOP rather than the real thing, because that means no one died. Again, but what are your thoughts, Ronnie Mitchell? Do you want these mass shootings to be PSYOPs, or do you want it to be real, with real people being dead? I have a feeling I know what your answer is, or you probably wouldn't even answer that question, really. All right, let's go to some. I'm kind of done. This is a big rant, really. So let's just look at the chat. Sorry, I kind of been not looking at the chat. Let's see. Bob, pay attention to little, believe nothing. It's a disinformation age. Shirley Vick, hey, at a bar came, you should try to get an interview with Eva Bartlett and Vanessa Beeley. They go to Syria and talk with the people. Their info is great. I'd love to interview them, but would they want to be interviewed by me, a Asian tech guy who thinks that the earth might be flat, and that there are things such that the military might be carrying out false flag attacks or PSYOPs? Yeah, I doubt they will, but we'll see. I mean, the least I could do is try to reach out. Lee Stranahan believes that Bannon has something to do with the El Paso shooting. They do them in movies and TV shows. Well, the CIA and the FBI made up conspiracy theory to cover up JFK assassination. Yeah, and is Ronnie Mitchell not even listening to Ray McGovern in episode 3 of CNN Live?
To get it out of the category of conspiracy theory, you know? Now, let me just say one word about conspiracy theory. In intelligence and in political matters, this expression drew incredible life from a fellow named Allen Dulles. Allen Dulles was the first big head, well, wasn't the first, but he was the big head of the CIA. And actually, there's evidence that Allen Dulles and CIA cronies, as well as military and other cronies, were involved in the assassination of John Kennedy.
Ooh, big conspiracy theory. That's a big PSYOP. And this is by who? None other than Ray McGovern, a retired CIA analyst. And what's your thoughts on that, Ronnie Mitchell? What's your thoughts on that there? I don't know what that guy's name is. Let's go back to 144. What's your thoughts on that? And I can't remember his name. Oh, you guys didn't even get to see that part. I forgot to show the video. Did I get that guy's? Yeah, let's see. Blaine Hill or something silly like that. What kind of name is that? Let's see. Burkines. All right, let me read the rest of the chat while we're here. Sounds like a new Marvel character. Agent Tranny. Haha. Multi-tom-tom. No flat earth. I just showed you a snippet. Bob Riersmer. At least the Bond hasn't accepted the futility of it all and pulled out his guitar to sing covers of Jimmy Buffett tunes yet. This is exciting. This is fun. Let's finish this game. Let's keep it going. You know, until everyone quits or dies off, let's just keep it going. See what happens. Let's finish this game. That's how I regard it. It's like, who's going to be the last person standing up for freedom and everyone else's freedom? Who's going to be the last person standing up for truth and calling out others, especially if it's their dearest of friends and family, that, you know, truth is more important than lies, even if everyone believes it and no one else does. I mean, it's a big game, and it gets worse and worse every time. And this, whatever this is, and the more it's getting to be like, the reality is what you make of it, but what occurs makes of you. It's kind of like the entirety of, are we living in the Matrix? And it kind of has some sense to it, which I can't find out. I can't know. And the whole purpose, if it's set up, is to not know. So the only thing left is playing the game that's being played out in life. What are you going to stand up for? What are you going to stand down for? And let's see where it goes. And I'm bad at singing, and I'm bad at playing music. I mean, I could probably come up with some tunes here and there, but, you know, I'm not particularly good at it. My voice isn't very good at it. So, yeah, probably the last thing you'll see me do is pull out a guitar and sing. Let's see. Oh, got an email. Oh, well, okay, whew, that's interesting. Okay. I'm gonna have to redact this so people don't know his contact information. Oh yeah, you guys can't see that yet, so good. All right. I don't know what mine is. Let's see, just to make sure I'm redacting it so no one has information. Okay. Response. Wow, this is all in real time. All right, let's go to that response that I was looking for. Let's see. Oh, I have to go to Alt B. Sorry. Let's bring it over to main monitor. Oh, you guys can see that now. Let's wait. Give me a second. Trauma always seems to occur. Can't seem to avoid it. All right, so I guess I'm responding. I am sorry to hear that. I heartfully disagree with that statement. I am officially resigning my post as a consortium news. This is technical production. I will send you my latest invoice. Thank you. Thank you. Well, jobless again it is. That's that. Looks like I have to figure things out again, Look, standing up for freedom and what you believe in and the truth and all of that is hard. It's difficult. Your trust factor for people gets worse and worse. But you can't lose hope. That's the entirety of the point. That's the game that's set up. Who's gonna lose hope and who's not? And hey, I might fail. I might give in, but hopefully someone gets inspired to not. And that is my hope. And that's it, I think. For tonight, there's nothing else that I can report. There's nothing else I could say. You're just going to have to watch me another time. I'll see you later.